Hello, and welcome to Emerald Thoth with me, Mark, out in the woods today. Hope you're keeping well. Looking to get some more messages from Spirit, the Divine, the Universe, God, Allah, Yahweh, whatever name you want to call Source Energy. So, messages for today before going into a read is I've been drawing runes on my hands for the last few days. And anybody who knows about the Nordic runes will know the kind of philosophy behind each rune, in an alphabet of 3 different ayats and messages from different gods within the Nordic realm. And the story of origin is Odin, which I think I mentioned before in another video, but I'll say it again, of when he basically hung upside down at a tree and took out one of his eyes, and that's how he gained knowledge of the runes, and that is basically divine knowledge which was given to humanity. So on my hands I have an X for Gebo, the rune of gift, and that can talk about divine gifts, as Honking happens there, or it can talk about partnerships as well, it can talk about romance, but it's got a sense of divine gifting and divine partnership, you and source creation, or you and a partner. So that just came to my hand today for Gebo for gift. On my other hand, on the back of the hand, is this M, which is Awaz, and Awaz is partnerships as well. It represents the horse. It can be talk about you as the horse and rider, or you and another person, and it talks about drive and movement and partnerships together, a little bit like Gebo, but in a lower or more earthly sense. And then the other two on my palm is Nestach. I probably butchered that, but Nestach is essentially how it's said, or the need fire rune, which talks about the fuel for action, the fuel for drive, and that motivation of need and scarcity and lack can be drive and passion. There's fire around this rune, the fuel to move forward, to change, to progress, to do something different, to survive, continue, maintain, persist. And on the other hand is Suiyo, which would be this kind of like thunderbolt type thing here with rays of light as such. Suiyo represents the rune, bright. It represents the rune, represents the sun, bright, bursting energy. I can feel the energy as I say the word, the sun and the rune Suiyo, because it is big, bright, bursting energy which you're embodying. You're embodying this fiery energy with partnerships with the divine, with partnerships on earth. Shining brightly is the feeling today. So, to do take messages from Spirit today. I'm going to do a top line of 4 cards, one from each of the decks that I have that I've been using on this channel, and just to see what the messages are, not in any particular realm or place, just significate a card for each of the decks to see what messages come through, and then to take more cards after that. Okay, so from the Time Traveler's Oracle, 1 card. Secrets of the Ancestors. 1 card, please, Spirit. That card. From the Divine Masters. Thank you, Spirit. That particular card, the others I've got turned over backwards, so I don't know what they are. But this one I wanted to show, and has been on this channel for a while, Lady Venus. Light activation, call to action, power surge, Earth mission. Venus closer to the sun than Earth is, and a very, very hot planet as well. Fiery. So, the fact that Venus wanted to pop out is saying this fire is yes. Your drive, your activation. There are bright, multicoloured energies, but there's a lot of kind of red and orange in here, and even yellow to signify what you look at a flame or a fire is those kind of colours, and related to the bottom 3, the root, the sacral and the solar plexus chakras. So, also take one from the Urban Road. One wanted to pop out with that one, but we're going to take one each. I haven't taken it with the 4, but I'll keep it. 24 illusion. And this is asking the question of what illusions are you seeing in the mirror? What illusions are people showing you? How clean is your mirror? This one is cracked. So there's a warning in there immediately with illusion. At the bottom of the deck is 47, survival. It's going to talk about the need for and that change needed for survival and persistence and growth. All of them come together. And the card that came out did pop out as well. Number 19, freedom. So what Spirit wants to say is, with all this need fire, beyond the illusion, beyond the sense of just survival, is freedom, is the sun, is rising above. 19 relates to the sun, major arcana. So the other messages that came out. Number 30, planning Machu Picchu, Peru. There is a phase of planning. You could have Aztec or Mayan links. I saw a video from a reader today who was in Peru with mountains in the background like this, and he talks about abundance, he talks about showing yourself to the world. So this is the plan. This is the plan Spirit has for you. These are the plans that you have. You are coming out from those clouds and shining and doing it in a very grounded, activated, fiery way. This is new. Don't say there's no original things on this channel. So the other card that wanted to come out and to kind of move with that fire and the speed of the flames and the communication and how you're stepping into your natural sort of power is creature of air, speed. Raw, unabashed speed. Number 34, which is, this card would be the equivalent of the Knight of Swords. It talks about communication, it talks about movement, it's air in air, it's just that fast kind of pace. And in this card particularly, you will notice the teeth. So you're not toothless. The way you're becoming is not so toothless, and you are cutting the cords that are necessary. You are speaking with teeth. Not that you're there to harm people, because that is the negative aspect as such, the shadow aspect, or the not so well adjusted aspect of the Knight of Swords. Is using your words and your thoughts and your power as such in a deconstructive sense and not in a progressive sense. However, if this is well adjusted, if this is with a genuine fire, then it causes positive and constructive changes, not just for you, but the people and places around you and the places that you will go to. You know, there is a sense of a magical being here as well. It's got like the snake body, but it's multicolored. It gives a sense of a bright snake. We are in the year of the snake. It gives a sense of transformation and bursting out with that. It's not just the butterfly coming out of the cocoon, it's the butterfly flapping its wings and spreading nice lovely fairy dust everywhere, but doing it at pace and doing it without hesitation, with haste. Well, Spirit, where do we want to go next from there? I'll see what messages want to come from the Time Traveler's Oracle with this. 2 cards. Bottom of the deck is 41, trust. Polynesians sailing through the choppy water, sailing through at pace. This is not a slow card, and the sun is breaking out again, so there's a sense of the light and the sun and breakthrough coming through with this card. The other 2 cards that are there, 33, protection, which came out in yesterday's read. You are protected as you go along, and this a lot talks to the need fire as well. The kind of next that's rune is this flame staying alive and feeding it and fueling it. And if you move towards the things that fuel your need fire, or the things you're here to do in a more spiritual kind of sense, if you want, then you're protected doing it and you can grow with it, and you have many lifetimes, many ancestors, many guides who are with you, even if you can only see their handprints or imprints of them that aren't quite visible in the 3D. The Cave of the Hands in Argentina. And this can suggest that you have that support 33, support of ascended masters, but also creativity and communication. You have something to speak here. This is in the cave. The card that comes out after that, number 27, miracles. And you have miracles that are ready to occur. A bit different from the fiery aspect, the northern lights in Iceland, but quite celestial magic lights that you have to show, and things that you have to show the world, and ways that you have to enlighten people. The bird flies out to say, yes, as you move, there are miracles to be performed. I'll take the top card from the Urban Crows because we did have another card come out. 45, self-interest. Now this is an interesting, multifaceted card in a way. The need and the desire of things that you need to do is spoken in this card. Obviously the poor little mouse here is feeding the crow. And all of these kind of crows here are not in communion and interest with others. So with the protection, this would speak to be careful of your own self-interest and the self-interest of others around you who may not have the best intentions for you at heart, the illusions. Because if you remain in illusion, if you remain in self-interest, then you won't find freedom. So it's a warning to be careful of the influences of others around you and to be so much in your self-interest, because this is not the strongest way for a collective to be. Mary Magdalene is at the bottom of the Divine Masters. Sacred vessel, you are the answer, be guided to your purpose. So follow the ways of spirit that are guiding you to the light and lighter ways of being. So 2 cards from the Divine Masters that came out. Kuthumi, initiatory experience, and there's a lot of light you can see coming on that card, a little bit like the brightness in the Suio rune as such on my hand. Initiatory to experience your current situation is initiating your gifts. As you come out of this cave, you can be a walking miracle. And one of the ways you can do that, and what helps you expand in this way beyond just the need fire, is an expanded heart. So Lady Nada has come up, expanded heart, that gives elements of Venusian energy as well, where Lady Venus is more Venusian in sense, but this gives a sense of a heart expansion, the higher heart chakra with all the pinks here and the brightness of it. So it's like an empowered heart with the yellow mainly at the top and here, and the blossoming heart. And that's how you expand, that's how you grow, and with it you may have gifts and partnerships that are going to help you progress that way. Openness, liberation, let yourself love and be loved. That is the way forward. Let yourself be loved by the divine and accept the gifts that you have, those miraculous gifts. And find the people, places and partnerships that go with that, that go with yourself, and that aren't so much two people or many people in self-interest. The bottom of the deck, Michael and Faith, spiritual calling. Divine protection, breakthrough moment. So this protection is ready for a miraculous breakthrough. This is the key message in here. It is those 2 cards, and everything else is kind of surrounding it. But through the protection that you've had and the guidance from ascended masters and ancestors and all spiritual guides, there is a miraculous breakthrough. And just under that is Commander Ashtar leadership activation. So you're being called as a leader, you're being called as someone who's evolving and trusting in their ability to guide others. Time to evolve, trust in your ability to guide others. You are evolving, you're evolving through this into this light, and you are guiding others with it. Breakthrough. feels fire. It feels like you're fired up. It feels like you're wound up in a sense and you're ready to go. And in a world where there's a lot of toxic masculinity, not so well adjusted masculinity, like maladjusted masculinity, let's call it. Let's not be too worried about the label pervasive, just not in its best aspects as such. Whether you're male or female is not really relevant, but it's a case of how do we use that fire, that yang energy in constructive ways, because there's a lot of ways for us to distract ourselves, to detract from others, or to abusively use power, or to cover up cracks in ourselves that we've not accepted or looked at or reflected on with any yang energy. With any yin energy, sorry. We've not reflected on that yin energy, we've not been in that state of being. So the more we're doing, the more we're in that yang energy. It's without reflection, it's without so much consciousness, it's without so much divine guidance, unless we are doing that and we've been called to that. And we've been working on it. So with that is how you're using that. And if you have worked on it, if you have stayed under the protection and been communicating with divine guides and source and something higher with faith and belief, then that's how miracles occur on this earth. And so it is the protection that you're receiving from the divine and the leadership activation to move forward in that space. The bottom of the ancestors deck is the Mother of Fire, the Queen of Wands, as such, shine and rise, just following on from that exact message. And all this fiery energy is you balancing that watery, that yin energy, but using it with fiery sense. This is one of the most confident cards in the deck for you to progress with that confidence. Shine and rise like the sun. So let's see, cards are going to come out, so 2 more, 3 more. Your ancestors want to speak. I'll come to the bottom one last in this case. So number 35, Mother of Air and Boundaries, and this is the Queen of Swords. In a loving sense, water and air, water and air is a sense of, in a loving, compassionate way, how are you setting boundaries, how are you staying firm and logical in your decisions, but with a well-adjusted heart, with an expanded heart. Because look, the protection here is for this little girl. You could see it as, and a child, you could see it as children around you, or you can see it as a blossoming, burgeoning society as such, and these are more spiritual guides. There's many echelons and resonances you can take with this, but for sure there's this compassion behind this broom as such, so let's not make it too threatening or like swords, but it speaks to in everyday ways. It's not necessarily going with a sword into battle like the creature of air. You know, it's not necessarily that it's physically like this. It's more in the everyday ways. How are you centered in yourself? How are you centered in your heart that can do that in an intellectual sense that protects the people that you care about and love, even if it's to protect them from themselves, and also protects other people from overstepping boundaries or doing the wrong thing, or maybe staying too far in boundaries to know when to expand and open your heart to others. And that's the compassion in here, and these yellow butterflies, joy and happiness and light. And with that, the mother figure knows when to set those boundaries and how to create distance and when to open up. That's quite strong. And with that came the Huntress Soul Awakening judgment. There's a judgment being called on you, and you are calling judgment. If you hold this kind of fiery compassion energy, so air and fire, which are in the suits of this, are yang energy. They're more moving, creative, constructive, structured type energy, and they are helpful in a positive sense. They're not helpful if they're not used positively. But with water, in both cases, with feminine yin energy. And so within that is an awakening for you to balance that duality, and as you do so, to awaken others. The more awakened and aligned that you are, the more you will awaken others as changes happen across this earth, as people look for genuine freedom, not I have money to travel somewhere, or I can do this and that because I've got enough yang energy in a fairly toxic patriarchal society that allows me to do so. Now, you can be in that and still be aligned, but the chances are that not everyone doing that is in that sense of alignment, but you are looking for that sense of alignment with balance, with progression for the world. And that is what you're awakening to, and what you're awakening others to as well. It's your soul awakening and soul awakening of others. And this huntress element says you're seeking the spiritual guidance, and that you're seeking the guidance to move forward in that. And judgment often relates to Pluto, and Pluto has moved into Aquarius. And this kind of gives a more airy sense to this card with the wings and the blues, and it's a sense of you calling forward people as spirit is calling you the same. It's a ripple effect, it's a continuous quantum ripple effect. And with that is completion. Is number 21, the world, is the ancestral force, as called in this card, and that speaks to those ancestral forces that are guiding you, as in this 33 protection card. There are forces all around you, they may be kind of unseen, but you're moving with balance and completion. It also relates to Saturn, so quite disciplinarian in the way that you're doing that, and that can relate to this sense of the right boundaries and the sense of moving at speed but with construction and haste rather than being careless, if you're well aspected in that sense of the Knight of Swords. But there's a sense of completion of cycles and time for you to rise and shine. This brings it all together, and 20 and 21, like awakening and completion, means you move maybe at speed now a bit more with this divine balanced light in you, with this light activation, with this cool activation, with this power surge on your earth mission. And at the bottom of the deck, well, I mean, Spirit is just speaking and speaking. So the one that I saw at the bottom and that I referenced earlier is Altar of Water, love overflowing, an expanded heart. Love is the way. All of this divine guidance and blessing and love pouring into you for you to pour out. But make sure you're filling up your cup within yourself and not playing to other people's self-interest, and spreading that with as much as you can give, and doing a balance and flow of all of them. If you're pouring from an empty cup, then you will get drained and you will lose any fiery energy to do anything. But if you're holding the cup yourself, or you're taking from others' cup rather than a divine source, then you are not in the best waters. So take pure, fresh, divine, beautiful water and use that to pour out and to pour into places, and as steam with fire and water together, to move and help on this earth. With that is 32, Altar of Air, clarity, which is the Ace of Swords, and almost like a balancing with these, like the compassion, but also the kind of structure and logic to it, but divinely knowing the way forward. And Creature of Fire, which is like the Knight of Wands, which says choose freedom. Number 24, your connection with higher realms from an amethyst type, so your crown, third eye chakra, divine knowledge coming through, and you grounding this in the fire and moving forward and choosing freedom with it. You have so much to give and you have so much drive. You may have just been emptying your cup too much, not in a bad way, not in a non-compassionate way, in a way that you just weren't kind of sure of the boundaries and the drive of where to do it, of that yang energy with that watery, with that earthly energy to create magic, to create miracles. I could go on quite a while. There's a lot of fire in me. I'm channeling a lot of fire in this energy, and it's fueled by a loving heart sense. But the message is clear, and the message is for you to take that fuel and go and move with it and create miracles in this world, dear one. If you are here, then wow, and I am proud of you, but I'm also hopeful for you. And well, I would say I'm a little scared of you, but I'm not a little scared of you. I'm got respect and in awe of you. And make sure you have that respect and awe for yourself, because that is how divine beings are seeing you, and they're hoping and they're wishing and they're believing you're going to make a big positive impact in this world. Not just a normal one by 3D terms, by higher terms to help awaken this earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I believe in you, I'm proud of you, and I look forward to seeing and hearing what you do in the world. No rush, but you've got it all there, so you're ready to go.